Alright, so last video we talked about what reverse engineering is and why it actually matters, especially if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, malware analysis, or if you're preparing for certs like the OSCP. In this video, I want to slow down a little bit and talk about a certain tool that most people feel intimidated by. And it was created by NSA, so you're like, oh man, what's going on here? It's called Ghidra. And if you ever opened Ghidra and just stared at the screen, you're like, what the heck is this? There are so many things going on that I don't even know, and then you shut down your computer. Yeah, that was me. I've done it. So today we're gonna look at Ghidra, but we're not gonna do too many advanced things, just so we know what we're looking at and we don't feel so scared to open the program up. Ghidra is a reverse engineering tool developed by the NSA. And before you're like, whoa, let me stop there and I don't wanna touch this, it's okay. All it really is a big translator. Programs run in machine code that run on your CPU, but that's hard to understand for humans, so we don't read that. Ghidra will then translate that into low-level code that we can understand. Now, it's not really magic, it doesn't have the original source code either, but with the assembly code that it does read, it can then reformat the program and then we can see the whole layout of what's actually happening, or at least a really good approximation of it. Think of it like receiving a cake and then trying to taste it to figure out the recipe. You won't get the exact recipe back, but you'll be able to tell what ingredients are in there and when they were added and how it was made. All right, well, let's get Ghidra installed. If you're on Kali Linux, this is going to be really easy. On Kali, you're going to want to do sudo apt update to get the latest repositories, let that run through, and then you're going to want to do sudo apt install Ghidra, just like that. I have it, we'll see what it does, but I already have it. Yeah, it says I already have the newest version. Cool. So that'll install, and then you'll get something like this. You won't see it here. You'll have to open it over here on your search. Just type in Ghidra, right click, you can move it wherever you want. So I have it here on my desktop. Yeah, let's open it. Ghidra, double click on that. Now you're gonna be presented with a screen that says, do you wanna open a new project? Just say, yes, I want a new project. Go ahead with that. Give it whatever name you want. Once you have it open, you're gonna wanna do File, Import File. Here you're gonna wanna look for the executable file that you have. Either you make your own, or you already have one that you're trying to analyze. So I will show you an example of a file. This is a sample C file that I have, and it's just a password checker. It has your main function. It says enter your password, and then it goes and it checks the password. If it is, it'll print. If not, access denied. And does a string comparison with the input given, and the actual password is duck123. You're going to want to compile this, make it into an executable. I'll call it login. There you go. You should have a file named login here. Here you go. And now you go to here, file, and you're going to want to import your login.exe file. Once you have that open, go ahead and double click login, and it'll look something like this. Now, don't close your laptop. I know this is kind of weird looking, but let's kind of go through this. You have your imports, exports, functions, classes, and namespaces on the left here. And Ghidra itself will go through and try to disassemble the machine code into assembly, and then from there it'll try to determine the low-level code. So here it'll have the functions that it thinks are in here, a main. Now the first things you want to look at are your functions, and you want to know where this starts. It starts usually on the main function here. So you click on here on the left, it'll come up here on the right. So here in the middle you have your listing. All this is the assembly. So you have, let's see if we can find a better example. So this is a better example. This is what assembly looks like. Now it's going to be a little bit different for each processor, but typically you have a memory address on the left, your opcode or your command here in the middle, and a register or parameters or operands on the right side here. Now once you found main, you want to see where exactly does this go. You can either follow the code here going further down and seeing what is being called here, or you can go on here and simply do right click, references, show references to address. And then here I want to open this up and we can see this is a reference to the main address. Now one other thing I want to show is this. Go ahead and close the program again and then open it up again. Here it reanalyzed the file, and on this right side you have a decompile section. This is what it thinks the actual program is doing. So you see it thinks it has this function called check password, takes this parameter, it does some string comparison with this string called doc123. Now down here, we can see what is called the function call tree. And it'll essentially tell you, first it was executed via start, then main, and then main executed this function called check password. And then from here, it went on to the right side here, and then it did a string comparison. One other thing you want to do is search for strings. Searching for strings will just give you a bunch of information that you may not have known before. You can kind of start putting it together to see what the program is doing. Enter password, access granted, access denied, some kind of password checker. It really does help. And one other thing I recommend is when you're reading through this is just to skim. Don't try to understand everything, but skim for big things like if conditions, or keywords, or passwords, or access granted, strings, things that kind of stand out to you. It's important for you to know some of the assembly, but you don't need to know everything. If you instead ask, what input does this function receive? What happens if this is true? What happens if this is false? What happens if it breaks? You start building and understanding what the software is really doing and how to actually break it. Now, if this feels a little bit slow or a little bit confusing, that's totally fine. We'll go deeper in the next videos and we'll start getting an understanding of how to actually run a program from end to end and then start hacking our own things. If you open up binary, find strings, figure out what the functions are doing, you're already way more ahead than I was when I started. In the next video, we'll actually crack this binary step by step and try to figure out where the password is and how to retrieve it. Make sure you follow the CyberDucky Reading Challenge to learn about reverse engineering so you're all caught up when these videos come out. Peace out.